students, myself Suresh VS. Welcome back to my channel. Let us continue the lesson. Should wizard hit the mummy? Your fifth chapter from Vistas. So please take page number 50. In the last session, we have seen that Jack, Joe's father, was narrating a story. So the main character was Roger Skunk. He told to Joe that whenever Roger Skunk came out to play with the tiny animals or small animals, they teased him and they were not ready to play with him. So Roger Skunk started crying. At this point, Joe was really thrilled or excited after hearing this story. So Jack decided to extend the story, or we can say that he did not want to hurry on because he wanted to convey a message as well as make Joe to sleep. So now let us continue the story. Well, he walked along very sadly and came to a very big tree. So he was very sad because all other small animals teased him, calling Roger stingy stump. So he walked sadly, yes, and reached where and came to a very big tree. That means he came across a very big tree. And in the tip top of the tree was an enormous wise old owl. In the tip top, that means in the top of the tree, there was a very big, enormous means very big owl lived. So he walked alone and reached by the side of wise owl. Good, Mr. Owl, Roger Skunk said. So you see that immediately Joe was really happy because Roger Skunk was approaching Owl for an advice. So she said, good. Mr. Owl, Roger Skunk said, all the other little animals run away from me because I smell so bad. After approaching a wise owl, Roger Skunk told about his problem. He said that all the animals were running away from him because he was smelling very bad. He has emitted an unpleasant smell. So nobody is ready to play with me. All are running away from me. So he said his problem to wise owl. So you do, the owl said. So you do, that means you are really, yes, emitting a foul smell, bad smell, unpleasant smell. Smell is there. Very, very bad. The smell there is very, very bad. Now what can I do for you? Roger Skunk said, and he cried very hard. What can I do? And really, I am really worried. What can I do? And he started crying. In the wizard, Joe shouted. At this point of the story, immediately, Joe started to shout. She said, the wizard, let him go to the wizard, let him go to the wizard. And sat upright. Until then, she was lying on the bed. Immediately, she sat right up. That means she sat straight on the bed. And a little golden book spilled from the bed. So while she did it, you see that a little golden book spilled or overturned from the bed. Now Joe, Daddy is telling the story. Do you want to tell Daddy the story? Father got angry. He was irritated. Hey Joe, I am telling the story now. Do you want to hear it? Or are you going to tell it yourself? That means she already told that he must go to wizard. So he got angry and asked them, if she wanted to tell the story by herself. No, you tell me the story. Then lie down and be sleepy. Then he ordered, then lie down there and try to sleep. Her head relapsed onto the pillow, and she said, out of your head. Her head relapsed. Relapse means onto the pillow. Relapse means sank again. So her head sank again, or we can say that fell back into the pillow again. And she came to the former state. Okay, keeping the head over the pillow. And immediately she said, out of your head. That means you tell now of your head. Oh daddy, you tell now. You continue the story of your head. Well, the owl thought and thought. At last he said, the owl thought and thought. That means the owl thought for a long time. At last he said, okay, he gave advice to Roger Skunk. Why don't you go to see the wizard? You just go and see wizard. Wizard will solve your problem. Daddy, what? Are magic spells real? Now Joe has a doubt. She interrupted her father and asked this question. Are magic spells real? So the magic spells, you see, magic spells are used by wizards. These magic spells are real or not? This was a new phase. You see that this was a new stage. Just this last month, a reality phase. This stage started just last month only. That means she started realizing the reality now. What is real and what is unreal. So that means she started asking the questions. So before she was not so curious. You see, the children usually cross question, and she started cross questioning. And this phase of cross questioning or understanding the reality, this phase started last month only. When he told her spiders eat bugs, she turned to her mother and asked them. So once you see that he told her that spiders eat bugs, immediately what did she do? She turned to her mother and asked, do they really? Do they really eat? And when Clara told her God was in the sky and all around them, so once her mother Clara told her that God is omnipresent, omnipotent, He is around us, He is everywhere, and He is in the sky. And immediately she turned to her father and insisted. Insisted means demanded forcefully. Asked to reply. Okay? Demanded a reply very forcefully. With a sly yet eager smile. With a sly means with a clever. Sly means clever. But at the same time, she was really eager to know. So with a eager smile. Is he really? Is he really exist? Is God there? So that means the child does not believe each and everything told to her. She started to identify the reality. They are real in stories. So now Jack replied, so to the question, are magic spells real? And he replied that these are real in stories. You can see these things only in stories. Jack answered curtly. Curtly means impolitely, or we can say harshly or rudely. Why? Because he was irritated. He was really irritated because he was interrupted in between the story. She had made him miss a beat in the narrative. Made him beat a miss in the narrative means while he was narrating the story, you see that then he lost the continuity as she had interrupted his story. The owl said, go through the dark woods, and now the wise owl directed the way through which way he has to go, Roger Skunk has to go to meet wizard. So you have the owl said, go through the dark woods, dark forest. Woods means forest. Under the apple tree. You proceed or you go through, yes, the dark woods, under the dark trees, on to swamp. Swamp means marshy land is known as swamp. Over the creek. And where it is? Over the creek. Immediately Joe asked another doubt. What is a creek? What's a creek, father? What is a creek, daddy? A little river. He replied. Creek is a little river. So if you go through the marshy land and over a little river, you can see wizard. Over the creek, and there will be the wizard's house. So over the creek, over the small river, there is the house of wizard. And that is the way Roger Skunk went, and pretty soon he came to a little white house. And as he was directed, he went through that small, that way. And at last he came to a small white house. That means he reached at the house of a wizard. And he rapped on the door. Rapped means knocked. After reaching there, Roger Skunk knocked on the door. Jack rapped on the windowsill, and under the covers Joe's tall figure clenched in an infantile thrill. Here you can see that Jack, while he was narrating the story, he started acting. He was a good actor. Okay, he is a good actor here. And as the Roger Skunk knocking the door, Jack knocked at the windowsill. You know that windowsill. Windowsill means the shelf of window, or we can say that the stone or wood or any a shelf made under the window. So he knocked at the windowsill to make the same noise. Windowsill and under the covers. So under the blanket, Joe had shown great thrill, great excitement, and Joe's tall figure clenched. Clenched means held tightly. Her figure held tightly in an infantile. Infantile means childish, and childish thrill, childish excitement. So the child, after hearing such stories, will be really excited. So in such a childish excitement, she held her body very tight under the blanket when Jack knocked, where on the windowsill. And then a tiny little old man came out. Immediately a tiny little old man, that means a small old man came out, and with a long beard, you can see in the picture also, and a pointed blue hat. With a pointed blue hat, he came out and said, "Oh, what's this?" That means what it is. And whatever want. Here means what do you want? After coming out, he asked, and what is this? And what do you want? You smell awful. Oh, what a smell. You smell terrible. So what a bad smell it is. The wizard's voice was one of, you see that the wizard's voice was one of Jack's own favorite effects. You see that the wizard's voice, it was created by Jack. Okay, so it was the most favorite of him. That means making the voice like that of a wizard was a favorite action of Jack. Jack liked that very much. And favorite effects. He did it by scrunching up his face. Scrunching means crushing, or we can say that making face into a tight shape. He made this noise. That means he started imitating the old wizard. So like an old man, making his face very tight, he started mimicking, or we can say acting like an old wizard. And scratching up his face and somehow winning through his eyes. So winning means crying or weeping, or here we can say that winning means the making of a long high-pitched cry or sound. So making a very high-pitched cry or a sound, as well as making his face very tight, he asked this question, "What is and whatever want?" Though his eyes and felt for the interval roomy. And you see that his eyes felt watery. His eyes felt roomy, they means watery. His eyes felt watery while he mimicked wizard. When he acted like a wizard, you see that there were, yes, water on his eyes. He felt being an old man suited him. He thought that the role of an old man really suited him. Okay, it was really, that means he was the best in acting as an old man, he thought. I know it. Roger Skunk said, I know that I had a bad smell. And all the little animals run away from me. He said his problem. And after seeing me, you see, wizard, nobody is ready to play with me, and they run away after seeing me. The enormous wise owl, you see, the huge wise, intelligent owl said you could help me, and all sent me to you and told me that you will be able to help me. Oh, well, maybe, come on in. Don't get too close. Okay, maybe I can help you. And he invited Roger Skunk inside his house. Come on, but don't come so close to me, because the smell is really unbearable. Now inside Joe, there were all these magic things. Now Jack started telling Joe, you see, inside the house of a wizard, different types of magic things were there, and all jumbled together and mixed up. All the magic things, all the things were mixed up there in a big dusty heap. That means in a pile of rubbish. That means which were placed one over another one. That means the room was dirty, the house was dirty, and there was no order at all. Why? Because the wizard did not have any cleaning lady, because there were nobody to help him. No cleaning lady was there. Immediately Joe asked another question. Why? Why? Because he was a wizard and a very old man. Why? Because he is a wizard. And not only that, he is a very old man, he could not do it alone. Okay. Then will he die? Then she has another doubt. Will wizard die? No, wizards don't die. Well, he rummaged around and found an old stick. Rummaged, then he searched. So immediately he searched around and found an old stick. Okay, and it was called a magic wand. So he took out a magic stick and asked Roger Skunk what he wanted to smell like. Then he asked to Roger Skunk and what smell he wanted. He was going to change the smell of Roger Skunk. That was his problem. So he asked what smell he wanted, yes, to smell like. Roger thought and said. So immediately Roger started thinking. And after thinking a while, thinking a lot, he said, I want the smell of roses. Yes, good. Joe said smugly. Smugly means in a satisfaction. So showing a great satisfaction, immediately Joe said, good, very good. That means she was very happy for, yes, Roger Skunk getting the smell of roses. Jack fixed her with a trance. Trance means a half-conscious state. So immediately Jack fixed her, looked at her, okay, so with a half-conscious state, that means as if he was forgetting everything and whatever around him. In such a way he acted. He is a good actor, and gazed and chanted in the wizard's elderly irritable voice, and he started, okay, he looked thoroughly at the baby and started chanting. Yes, the following, you can see here the following words. And chanted in the wizard's elderly irritable voice. In the voice of wizard, in an irritable voice, an elderly voice, he started telling this. Abracadabra, hocus poo, Roger Skunk, how do you do? Roses, bosses, pull on ear. Roger Skunk, you never fear bingo. So this is magic spell. He paused as a rapt expression widened out from his daughter's nostrils. Immediately Jack stopped there, stopped his story. Why? Because a rapt expression, a rapt means completely fascinated or attracted. Completely fascinated or attracted, yes, expression that widened out from his daughter's nostrils. You know nostrils. Nostrils, that is the either to yes, external opening of the nose. So from here you see that the nostrils were widened and such a fascinating expression was there in her face. And forcing her eyebrows up, now she raised her eyebrows and her lower lip down and the lower lip down in a wide noiseless grin. Grin means smile broadly. She smiled broadly. As a result of that, her lower lips, yes, came down. And that means she has expressed such a happiness on her face. Expression in which Jack was startled to recognize his wife feigning pleasure at cocktail parties. Feigning means pretending. And you see that Jack immediately, he was really startled. Startled means surprised. Because it was same expression of his wife whenever she went for the cocktail parties. That means he realized the face expression of his daughter. Yes, that was same like that of his wife. She made such a face when she pretended to be enjoying the cocktail parties. That means his wife, while she pretended that she was enjoying the cocktail parties, and such a face expression she has made. It looked the same like that. And all of a sudden, he whispered. All of a sudden, he murmured. Whispered means murmured. The whole inside of the wizard's house was full of the smell. Immediately, the whole house of a wizard that was filled with the smell of roses. Roger's fish cried, "Roses!" That means he was very happy. Roger's fish cried. He shouted. And the wizard said, very cranky. Very cranky means in a bad tempered way. Immediately wizard said, that will be 7 pennies. You have to give me 7 pennies for this, for changing the smell. Daddy, what? Roger's skunk, you said the Roger's fish. It is not a Roger fish, it is a Roger skunk. You said the Roger fish. Yes, skunk. You said Roger fish. Wasn't that silly? That means it's a lack of common sense. It's very silly that you, yes, changed the name. Okay. And it is not a proper judgment. Very silly of your stupid old daddy. Where was I? Yes. It was really a silly thing from the part of your daddy. So where was I? Where did I stop my story? Well, you know about the pennies. You know about the money? Say it. Then you say it. Okay, Roger skunk said, but all I have is 4 pennies. Then there, Roger skunk said, all I have that is 4 pennies. I don't have more money than it. And he began to cry because he did not have sufficient money with him. Joe made the crying face again. Again, Joe, yes, made the crying face. But this time without a trace of sincerity. But this time there was no sign of sincerity on her face. This annoyed Jack. And this irritated Jack. Jack got angry. Downstairs some more furniture rumbled. Downstairs you see that some more furniture rumbled. Already you have seen what is the meaning of rumbled. Okay. So the dragging noise of furniture, yes, was heard. Clara shouldn't move heavy things. He thought Clara should not move heavy things. That means he is a wife. He is painting there. He is trying to move heavy things. She should not do that. Why? Because she was 6 months pregnant. Okay. It would be their third. Now they are going to have their third child. So the wizard said. Then immediately wizard said, oh, very well, go to the end of the lane. You just got to the end of that path, lane, and turn round 3 times. From there you turn round 3 times and look down the magic well. And you look down, there is a magic well. And there you will find 3 pennies. So you have only 4 pennies. You can get, 3 pennies from that magic well. Hurry up, go fast. So Roger skunk went to the end of the lane and turned around 3 times. So Roger skunk went there and turned 3 times there. And from the magic well, Roger skunk collected 3 pennies. So he took them back to the wizard and was very happy and ran out into the woods. And afterwards, Roger skunk came back and gave that money to wizard and ran out into the forest. And all the other little animals gathered around him. When he reached his place, all other little animals, all the animals surrounded him, gathered around him because he smelled so good, smell of roses, and they played tag. Tag means a game of chasing, game of following, and there they played different games like football, basketball, yes, lacrosse, hockey. Lacrosse, that means played in the field with two sticks. Okay, hockey, zoser, and pickup sticks, and different games they played there. What is pickup sticks? Again, Joe has doubt. What is pickup game? Pickup sticks? It's a game you play with the sticks, he explained. Like the wizard's magic wand, isn't it? It is like the stick of a wizard. Okay, so kind of, and they played games and laughed all afternoon. So they played games and all of them enjoyed very well. All the afternoon they played, and when it began to get dark, they all ran home to their mummies. All of the small animals, they went to their mother when it was getting dark. Dear students, I hope all of you understood this part very well. So we will, yes, learn the last part of the lesson in the next session. So please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching it. Thank you.